I'm good. How are you?
Good. When do you take this test?
5 days.
Okay, so is this going to be our last session?
I think so.
Okay, so I guess we should stick with the hard problems.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out where we left off. I said my notes were not decipherable by me. Do you remember doing 55?
Let me see. No.
Okay, well let's
Oh,
do.
yeah, I do actually.
Okay, what's the first step on these kind of problems that you want to do?
You make a triangle.
Yeah, draw the triangle, label theta, and dimension it. So, or x. And if cosine of x is 4/5, that has to be 4, that has to be 5. Solve for the other side, it has to be 3. Then the sine of x is 3 divided by 5. All right.
Oh, okay. I recognize this, but
So normally, it would be this, is their profit, right? They're going to sell 1,750 sets at $9.50 a set. So if they don't mess with anything, this is the function. And they're saying that if we decrease the set price by $1, we'll sell 1,200 more sets of books. So if we took it down to $8.50, we would sell $29.50 times $8.50.
right.
Does that look familiar? Any of these answers? In other words, let's pick a number. Let's drop the price by $1. Well, we know what's going to happen. We're going to charge $8.50, and we're going to multiply it because we're going to sell an extra 1,200. So we're going to sell $29.50 times $8.50 would tell us what our revenue was. Now, can we pick that equation? In other words, when I let x equal 1, my price dropped to $8.50 and my number of sets went up by 1,200 times 1.
So, F.
Right here, H.
H? Okay.
Notice that when x is 1, the price drops to $8.50 and the number of sets goes up to $29.50.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to be the only one that gives me the right answer. And notice that if I make x 2, well, now the price drops to $7.50, which is $9.50 minus 2. And the number of sets that I sell is going to go up by 2,400. So equation H fits this model perfectly. But it's a little tricky to figure out. That's a difficult one, I think. So what number has to be on the second ball for him to win?
Um,
Hold on. In other words, he gets a 17 on the first ball, and he
29.
only wins if they have a sum greater than 45.
29.
So he needs a 29 or higher. Right? There's 45 marbles in there. How many of them are 29 or higher?
Um, 15.
15? Yeah, because it has to be 29 up to or including 44. And that's 15 numbers. 44 minus, or is that 15 numbers? That's not 15 numbers.
44 minus 29.
Plus 1.
Oh.
Realize that if there were only two balls and they were 29 and 30, and I subtract those, I get 1.
Right, okay. Yeah.
But the answer we can see plainly is 2. So whenever you're figuring out how many balls there are between balls 29 and 44, you have to subtract the two numbers and add 1. So there are 16 available balls to be drawn. Out of how many?
43. Because the first two were already picked out, right?
Just the first one. He draws one marble,
Oh.
and without replacing the first marble, he draws a second marble at random. So there's now only 44.
It's 4 over 11.
A. Another toughie, but that's what we expect on problems numbered 57. My problem.
Yes.
What's the perimeter?
What? 26.
Uh-huh. All right. I suppose it can't hurt. 4 comma 4, 0 comma 4, 4 comma 0, and 0 comma 0. Which of the following is an equation of a circle that is inscribed in the square? Well,
okay.
what's the general formula for the equation of a circle?
X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And then the radius is 2, so that would equal 4.
Okay, what's h and k?
I guess that'd be 2. All of them, everything's 2.
So answer C.
Yep.
Yeah, the easiest mistake on here is to put r over here instead of r squared. So,
Right.
all right. Well, that wasn't too hard. Know the equation of the ellipse?
Yeah.
What is that?
The same thing, equal 1.
and
over A and
A
B.
squared and B squared. It is A squared and B squared in the denominator. Where
If it's not at the origin, right?
Right. If it's at the origin, then just H and K are 0. But I still have an
Yeah.
A and a B.
Oh, okay.
A is this measurement, B is that measurement. Unless it's a vertical ellipse. And then A is the vertical measurement. A is always the biggest number. And if A is measured vertically, it has to go under the Y. So sometimes the equation of an ellipse can be this, where the A squared is under the Y. But I've actually never seen one on an ACT practice test that was anything other than that right there. So that's what I would memorize. Not the vertical one, but the horizontal one. All right. This one is a gift if you don't run out of time. So this is one where you would definitely be hurting yourself if you failed to ever see question 60. Because
Right.
we know we're going to get question 60 right if I just don't make a mistake. So let's go through it step by step. Started at 60. On Wednesday, the price was reduced by 15%. What is it going to be then?
51.
So 51 on Wednesday. 2 weeks later, the price was further reduced by 20%. What is it on Wednesday plus 2 weeks?
40.8.
Did you just multiply that by 0.8?
No, I multiplied 51 by 0.2 and then subtracted 10.2 from that.
You can always save yourself a step by multiplying directly by 0.8. In other words,
okay.
the way you did it was 2 steps. By multiplying
Right.
it by 0.8, it would be 1 step. It's kind of like if it goes up by 10%, you could multiply by 10% and add that, or you could just multiply it by 1.1. Okay? So this is the price on Wednesday. What percentage of the original price is that price?
60.
40.8 divided by 60. What is that percent number?
I got 68.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to test 2, question 31. Boy, that was fortuitous. I guessed, and it came right out. Question 31. One over x minus 3/4 equals what? Make sure you know how to do this.
Well,
What do I have to do? What's my biggest worry?
do you have to like make the denominator the same?
Yeah, I got to find a common denominator.
Oh,
What's the common
okay, so that
denominator?
would be
What's the common denominator?
4x.
All right.
So it would be 4 minus 3x, which is that one, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I did know that. I don't know why I just blanked.
Okay. All right. M and M are parallel, and O and P are parallel. The measurement of that angle is 40. What's the measurement of this angle over here?
140.
That didn't even require that the other ones be parallel, did it? Maybe it did, yeah. I guess it did. Which of the following degrees measure is equivalent to 4.25 pi radians?
So 2 pi is 360 degrees.
Okay, so let's approximate this. You don't need your calculator for this. What would 4 pi radians be?
Double 360.
So it would be 720, so what's our answer?
D.
Okay. And that's actually quicker to do it than you would do it in a calculator. Right?
Right.
Which is the closest to 1.34?
E.
Yeah. 473. I wish they were all like that, huh? Sides of a triangle measure 3 root 2, 3, and 3. What are the measures of the angles of the triangle?
45, 45, 90.
Okay, good. You recognized an isosceles triangle. And in fact, you recognized our unit 1 times 3. What's the median of that data? Let's see. What's the first thing we have to do?
Order it in first two.
What's the median?
20.
Okay. This one is hard to understand just because of the way they word it.
Oh, okay.
P is a positive integer that divides both 45 and 60. So it could be like 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be 5. Or it could be 3. But it divides neither 9 nor 10, so it can't be 3, it can't be 5.
So 15. So would that be 6? Is that like what it's asking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it says add the digits in P, that's kind of a hint that P is in other words, when we look for common factors of 45 and 60, we don't usually think of double-digit numbers, but when they say add the digits in P, that should be kind of a flag that, they're probably talking about a double-digit number. In other words, they're not talking about 5 or 3. Again, I have never seen this be an answer. So if you see cannot be determined, don't ever guess that. I've seen that as an answer only on SAT subject level 2. I remember I saw it and I said, that's the first time I've ever seen it in 6 years. What's the slope of any line perpendicular to the x-axis?
0.
What's the slope of this line? Hold on.
Oh, that's 0. So
what's the slope of a vertical line?
1.
Rise over run.
It was an undefined then.
Exactly. The run is 0, right?
Yeah.
It means you're dividing by 0. So we're dividing by rise over 0. That's going to be infinity. Now that you're taking calculus, we don't have to use that word undefined. It actually has an infinite slope. But maybe they still use undefined even in calculus. I don't think so. I'll bet they use infinite. All right, number 39.
-3.
Y equal -3?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the equation of a line is always either x equal or y equal. It's not just a point. 475. How's your calculus coming anyway?
Pretty good. I like derivatives.
Yeah, calculus is fun. If you ever need help, be sure and think about me, because I enjoy tutoring calculus about as much as anything. It's just challenging. So if the tan of b is 3/4, then the sine of b is...
Okay, awesome.
Learn to recognize a 3-4-5 triangle, and it'll save you having to do some math.
Is it 3/5?
Yeah. We haven't done this question?
No.
Okay. I like this question. What if you weren't sure about this? What could you do?
Back solve?
You can back solve it, but not really. You have to pick numbers and back solve it. In other words, there's a difference. There's problems that you straight back solve, and this isn't one of them. But there's other problems where they have a variable or 2 or 3 in the question, and all of the answers have all of those variables. So what that tells you is that I can pick anything I want for m. If I want to pick a number, I could pick 12. Wouldn't that be special? What happens if I pick m for 12? What is the answer? How many miles can she walk in 15 minutes?
15, or 1 per minute.
So hold on. When m is 12, our answer has to be 4. Right? Because they're saying she could walk 4 miles in 15 minutes if I let m equal 12. At that pace, how many miles can she walk in 15 minutes? Well, it's got to be 4. So now, using m of 12, which of these answers gives us 4? Not A, not B, not C.
D.
D does. The question is, does anything else? No, only D. So D is the right answer. Now, whenever you pick numbers, usually you want to be a little clever about it. In other words, notice if I would have picked an m of 1. No, excuse me, an m of 6. In other words, she can walk 4 miles in 9 minutes. But now I can't immediately figure out in my head how many miles she'd be able to walk in 15 minutes. So you don't want to just pick any random numbers when you're picking numbers. Pick clever numbers. The cleverest number was 12, because now I know the answer to that. But also I could have picked an M of 1, meaning she can walk 4 miles in 4 minutes. That means she's going to walk 15 miles in 15 minutes. And now if I go through here and figure out which answer is equal to 15 given an M of 1, notice D comes up again. Did I lose the audio? You still there, Rachel? Are you back? Ah, I lost you for a second. You back? Rachel?
Oh,
Hello? Ah, you're back.
I can hear you.
Ah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. You still there?
Yeah, I am. I don't know why that happened because I have good connection in this room.
Yeah, okay. I was going to call you. There is multiple ways to do this. We don't have to use the audio through GoToMeeting. I was going to call you on my Google phone, and if you have a speaker phone on your end, that works just as well. All right. Part of the problem is I think I lost you, and I don't know where I lost you. Did we cover question 41 to your satisfaction?
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at 42. Which one of those gives you an even integer regardless of what n is?
F.
Well, what if n was, oh yeah. Hold on. Why is it not G? Oh, because if I make G, yeah, if n is even, okay, yeah, it is F. That's straightforward, yeah. Because n squared is either going to be odd or even, and if you take an odd or even number, multiply it by an even, you get even. All right, about 45. So 45, 45 right triangle. And angle A and angle B. And AC is 12. What is the perimeter in terms in units?
D.
You're good with those unit triangles. You're as good as anybody I work with. All right, let's do a science question. Not really, but this reminds me more of the science questions than it does the math questions. Let's see, this is going to hold for 2 different questions. Okay. Which of the following years had the greatest increase in the number of households with a high-speed internet connection over the previous year? You can tell that without a calculator, just by looking at it.
It's going to be, oh, the previous year. I was looking at it wrong.
And it's not the greatest percentage increase either, although they happen to be the same, but it's the greatest increase.
So that between 2004 and 2005?
Well, the increase looks to be about 133. What's the increase from 2001 to 2002?
Oh, what, like 190-ish?
Yeah, that's the biggest one, absolute value and percentage increase. It's almost double. None of the others are even close, really. That would be the next one, I suppose, and that would be the next one. Okay, let's see here. Let me open this up twice, so we can see the table and see the question at the same time. So question number 45. Hold on. I think we need the title of this also. Yeah, we do. That's the number of households in the town of Potterville, which is in Eaton County. Okay? So this one says that there were approximately 652 households in the entire county with internet in 2000. So Potterville only had 176, but the county had 652. So, okay, so now let's see if we can answer the question. Okay.
Okay.
What are you going to do?
Divide 176 by 652.
Yeah.
27%.
Uh-huh. All right, let's see. Another one of these kind of questions. What value of A gives you an infinite number of solutions?
2. I finally got it now. It's 2.
Very good. You did. 477. Usually I have to do a long-winded explanation of that problem. Of course, I probably already did that long-winded explanation the previous time we saw it, huh?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I don't think there are any log questions on the test, but
I mean, you could just, I mean, that's 13, right? Yeah, you could do like a change of base, but I could also just plug it in there.
Yeah, if you switch that to exponential format, you got x squared equals 169. Take the square root of both sides, 13. This is what I call a symbol problem, where they make up a symbol that acts like a function. In other words, A symbol B is to be interpreted as A plus B cubed, no matter what A and B are. So what's the value of 2 symbol 4?
6 to the 3rd.
Yeah, these are always really easy because they're always directly plug in. occasionally you'll see a really high degree of difficulty symbol problem where you have to plug in twice. In other words, it might say 2 symbol 4 symbol 8. That would be a hard one. These are more typical where it's really straightforward. You plug in the 2 for A and the 4 for B. And it's rarely more complicated than that. The main thing is don't get freaked out by a symbol that you don't recognize. This is not a mathematical symbol. That is one they made up. We can draw this. The problem with spending this much time graphing it is it takes quite a bit of time to graph it. That's W, that's X, Y would be 4, 1, so Y would be about there, and Z is 1, 1, which is right there. So they're talking about that quadrilateral, which looks to be like a parallelogram. In fact, is it a parallelogram?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the area of a parallelogram?
Is it just like height times base?
Yeah, but it's vertical height. It's
right, that's what I mean.
Not slant height. It's base times vertical height, which works quite nicely here because we know what the base and the vertical height are. What are they?
The vertical one is 3.
Okay.
And then the base is 3, 2, I guess. Wait. Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah. In other words, the base is going to be the difference in the x coordinates, and the height is going to be the difference in the y coordinates. Now, the question is, do you have to draw the picture? Well, not if they'd have said the parallelogram. If they'd have said, what's the area of the parallelogram, then I would have done it without drawing it. Because it did take 20 or 30 seconds to draw that. But it's only after drawing it that I now know that it's a parallelogram, for sure. Although I should be able to tell that from all the coordinates, but it's not always that easy. I do find that most questions like that, they're always parallelograms, even though they don't call it that. They may call it a quadrilateral, but that is a parallelogram quadrilateral. All right. If the x-coordinate of each point on a line is 3 more than twice the corresponding y-coordinate, what is the slope?
2.
Well, let's draw one. So let's see. If the x-coordinate of each point on the line is 3 more than twice the corresponding y-coordinate. So if the y-coordinate was 1, then the x-coordinate has to be what?
5.
So here's a point, 5, 1, and if the y-coordinate were 2, what is the x-coordinate?
7.
So 7, 2. Now figure out the slope between those 2 points.
Is it 2?
To rise over run, how much is the rise between here and here?
2.
It's 2 minus 1. The rise is y sub 2 minus y sub 1. The run is x sub 2 minus x sub 1. That's equal to rise over run, which is equal to slope. So what's y sub 2 minus y sub 1?
1.
What's x sub 2 minus x sub 1?
2.
1/2. And I think that that's the only way to do it, the way I did it. I think you actually have to figure out 2 points and then figure out the slope between those 2 points. It's not clear to me at all that the slope is 1/2 from that. The fact that it's 3 more than twice. That doesn't translate to a 1/2 slope for me. But it allows me to figure out a point and then another point. And then I can figure out the slope between those 2 points. And just, let's go back a moment. I don't want to. We had 2 points that were 5, 1 and 7, 2. It doesn't have to be y sub 2 minus y sub 1. It can be y sub 1 minus y sub 2 as long as you go in the same direction in the denominator. In other words, that's okay. If doing it this way gives you all positive numbers, then I would do it this way. If doing it this way gives you all positive numbers, do it that way. But you can do it either way. You can mix it up, just so long as you're consistent, numerator and denominator. In other words, I probably wouldn't want to mix that up because it gives you positive numbers, but make that a 9 and make this a 3. And now the math is really much easier if I do y sub 1 minus y sub 2 over x sub 1 minus x sub 2. I don't have to introduce negative numbers at all by doing it that way. Now this one, oh yeah. Ooh, I could have easily made a mistake on this, because it looks to me like if that's one endpoint of the diameter of the circle and that's the other endpoint, isn't the diameter the distance between the x's? Well, no, because the diameter may not be a horizontal line, and clearly it isn't. In other words, the endpoints are minus 4, 4 and 0, minus 2. So there's the circle they're talking about. So how do we figure out the distance between those points?
Distance formula.
Which is?
Square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared.
And these you can go in any order you like because it's going to get squared. And it doesn't matter, and you don't even have to be consistent. So what's the difference in the x's squared?
X's squared would be 16.
And the difference in the y squareds?
That's 36.
So the diameter, simplify that.
Um, 52.
What perfect square number divides into 52?
4.
Okay, 4 times what?
13. So
That's
2
2 root 13. That's the diameter. So the radius is half that.
So root 13.
Yeah, and they do put the trap answer on there. They won't always. Sometimes they give you a break and they don't put the trap answer on there so that when you come up with the trap answer, you realize that, I must have done something wrong.
G.
No, X and Y could both be negative and Z could be
Oh, yeah,
positive.
true. I mean, H?
Why is F not always true? The only way F would not be true is if Z was 0. But X times Y times Z is equal to 1, so there's no way Z can be 0. So if we just algebraically start with X, Y, Z equals 1 and divide both sides by Z, which is always correct to do unless Z is 0, then that's the only time you can't do it.
Yeah, I read like Z is 2. I don't know why.
Well, Z could be 2. Z could be 2, Y could be 1/2, and X could be 1. So none of these have to be true, only because, 1/2 times 2 is equal to 1. So I could do 1/4 times 2 times 2. That could be X, Y, and Z. But F, algebraically, is exactly the same as that as long as Z is not 0. And we know it isn't. So, let's see, 478. Okay, I may have to do a little interpretation here for you. It's pretty blurry. The y-intercept of this line.
This is 9.
Okay. The average of a set of 7 integers is 24. When an 8th number is included in the set, the average goes up to 31. What is that 8th number?
Okay, so I'm going to do 24 times 7.
Totals, always totals. In other words, you always want to work with totals. You don't ever want to work with averaging the averages. In other words, we don't want to work with 24 and 31. We want to work with the total of that and the total of that.
Yeah, I got 80. So I subtracted 248 from 168, which is that.
Okay. Now, let's see here. That is 2B. This is B. This is C, and this is 40. What is C?
Okay, well, B is going to be 30, right? Oh no, it's not 90 degrees. Okay, wait, hang on. So 90 plus 40.
always know the two acute angles are always complementary of a right triangle? You don't have to go through the 180 minus those two. In other words, eliminate that and just that plus that is 90. Always.
Okay, so B equals 25.
Okay.
And
So C equals what?
65.
This says the ratio of L to M is 3 to 4. The ratio of P to M is 1 to 2. What is L over P?
Is that just 3 to 1?
No. Because your M's weren't the same.
Oh, right. Okay, so that'd be 3 to 2.
Yeah. In other words, this I need to write as 2 to 4. And now we can do L to P is 3 to 2. Once I've got the M's the same. And I could also solve it algebraically. In other words, I don't have to manipulate it like that. I can just solve each equation for M and put it in there. Actually, I would solve this one for L. In other words, here's the way I would do it. I would solve it for L. I would solve this one for P. Well, what is this one? It's 1/2 M, right? And now L over P would be that divided by that. And that's where you end up getting 3 to 2. The M's cancel, and you get 3 to 2.
Yeah.
I think I can draw this one. He wants to build a circular wading pool in a rectangular backyard whose dimensions are 40 by 70. Jordan's neighbors want the pool to be as large as possible, with the edge of the pool at least 4 feet from the edge of the backyard all around. So we can put a pool here, and this measurement is going to be 4 feet, right? Am I interpreting that right? I think so. The edge of the pool at least 4 feet from the edge of the backyard. How long should the radius of the pool be in feet?
Oh, okay. So it'd be 32 divided by, it'd be 16.
Oh, good. It was giving me a headache looking at that page. It was so blurry. It's a clever one. 3 distinct lines contained within a plane separate the plane into distinct regions. How many possible distinct regions of the plane may be separated by any 3 such lines? So I'll let my drawing tablet be the, no, let's let this be the plane. So let's see, there's 1 line, there's 2 lines, there's 3 lines. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm confused. Why do they give us 3 numbers? How many possible distinct regions of the plane may be separated by any? I guess that's 3 possible configurations. Well, I can certainly get 3. I mean, I can, if I draw 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, I've separated it into 4. So 4 has to be, I don't know how to draw 3 lines and separate it into 3. I don't think. I think that's the minimum we can get is 4. Can we get 7? Yeah. I can get 6 and I can get 7. I got 7 the first time. 1, 2, 3 lines. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can get 7. So G has to be the answer. I'm not sure what the purpose of that middle number is. I mean, we can get 6 also if I draw it there. All right. My next favorite problem that I think, it's 8 o'clock. Do you want to do this real quick?
Yeah.
Minus 22, sum of consecutive integers from minus 22 to n is equal to 72. What is n?
Okay, so you cancel out everything from like negative 22 to 22, right? And so you just have...
Right. So, since the sum is 72, I must have that, that, and that. In other words, those 3 numbers add to 72.
So n is 25.
Right. All right. Rachel, good luck on your test.
Thank you.
If you need to schedule a session before then, I got some spots available, but not a lot. And you can always do that online. I don't know if you have done that before, but you can go to my website and schedule online if you need another session. Or if you ever need a session for calculus.
All right.
Okay?
Will do.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for helping me.
Sure.
Bye.